besties, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new. I'm B, and welcome to another writing vlog, except this is actually quite a different writing vlog than my usual ones because one, it's a collab with Kay. I'm so excited to be doing this collab with Kay for her crowdfund campaign for her debut novel, which she's planning on self-publishing. What makes it so exciting is that she is a fellow romance girly, a romance writer, and I absolutely love that, and her book sounds so good. You need to check out her videos and her shorts. In her shorts, she gives little snippets and teasers of her book, and I'm like, I need to read this right now. The vibes are just so good. And speaking of vibes, another reason this is different is because for this video, for this collab, we are going to be swapping writing playlists and mood boards to write a romance scene.
Hi V's channel, I'm Katie Valentina, and I've just launched a crowdfund for my debut novel, The Tide Always Comes Back. It's a mature young adult contemporary romance novel with mystery elements, diverse characters, and it's set on the coast of England. Today I've shared my playlist and mood board with V. The top song is Champagne Coast by Blood Orange. That song is so young adult summer romance. There's also Seasons by Wave to Earth, Atomic Land by David. That song literally dropped like 2 weeks ago, but as soon as I heard it I was like, The Tide Always Comes Back? Yes! I'm so excited to see what V comes up with, and I can't wait to write a scene based on the mood board and playlist for Into the Limelight.
This was her idea. It's such a fun idea, and this means that I'm not going to be working on my regular work in progresses in this video. I'm going to be writing something completely new, and that is what is really exciting to me because I haven't done that since school when I had to do that all the time for assignments. But yeah, it's so exciting. I don't know how this challenge is going to go. We're going to find out together because I obviously make a mood board after I know what I'm going to write about, and a playlist too. I made a playlist specifically for this challenge for my romance novel Into the Limelight because I didn't have one before because I don't write to music. But a playlist isn't supposed to be, it's not necessarily just something that you listen to while you write, which I know is a common way for people to use playlists with their writing, but it's also to capture the vibe of your story. Like sometimes you can like listen to it like while you're going for a walk or something to get into the headspace of your novel, or just to, you know, have something that represents it in music form. And it's crazy that I didn't have one before because my novel Into the Limelight has so much music. It's centered around music. So that was really fun to pick a playlist, and you should definitely go check out Kay's video where she will be receiving my mood board and playlist and writing a scene based off of that. And I'm so excited to read what she writes with that. So we're gonna just get right into it. I'm going to reveal her mood board and playlist, and then we're gonna write it. Okay, her mood board is stunning. It's so pretty. It's giving coastal summer is what I'm getting. Oh my god, that book cafe is so cozy. I don't know, I'm getting friends to lovers with this, like childhood friends to lovers, coastal. This is me thinking aloud for what I'm gonna write. It's okay, yeah, starting to get the vibe. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put on my headphones and listen to the playlist while I just jot down as many ideas as I can think of for this book, and then we'll start writing. Yay! Okay, I wrote a bunch of things down, but then I wanted to stop myself because I was like, I really do want to just go into this and just start writing and figure things out myself. But I did want to get a good sense of the essence of this scene slash short story. We said scene, so I don't know. We said that we were just gonna write for however long feels right, but it is a scene essentially. Anyway, so the songs were very much giving what the mood board was giving, very beachy songs. A lot of them were very slow and wistful, so I just jotted down everything that it made me feel instead of specific things that I was planning to include in the story, because I just want to go into the scene writing it out and not knowing too much about the characters and kind of let that unfold. It's obviously everything is giving beach town setting, so I was thinking it could be literally on the beach, or I was thinking like a beachside coffee shop. Maybe one of them works there. I don't know. I stopped myself because I was like, do not plan too much, just go into it. I have my notes. I have a good idea, general idea of what I'm gonna write, and I love this. I think this is what I was trying to say in the intro, and I think I forgot to say it. I'm just now realizing. But I've made a mood board and a playlist before for a novel where I already know what's going to happen or what I want to happen, but I've never written a story based off of a mood board and a place. So this is a very interesting experience, and I'm just gonna get into writing it because I'm excited. Okay, I'm gonna start writing the scene, and I'm gonna use the Blank Page website. I believe I showed it to you guys in my Getting Out of a Writing Slump video, but I love this website. I started using it last semester, honestly, for some writing assignments that I had, because when I was stuck or like didn't know how to start something, I would always do like a draft, like a messy first draft on the Blank Page website, because it just feels so unofficial. Like it's literally just a blank page and you can type on it, it shows word count, and that's it. So I think I'm just gonna stare at the page, write like the first thing that comes to mind, and then just keep writing. And I don't know how long it's gonna take me to write a scene. I don't know if it's gonna take me the whole night, if it goes into tomorrow, but I'm also gonna be listening to the playlist while I write. First thing was that like came to my mind was there was a girl in the middle of the ocean, and I don't know, I've never ever written from the male perspective, like ever, but I feel like with just this one scene it'd be nice to write from that perspective, because then you could get like male yearning, like I could capture that a bit better. I've never done from the male perspective though, but something's telling me I want this to be from Jack's perspective. I'm gonna continue with this first sentence and see if it works. If I get blocked I might do another, but I'm getting ideas. Why am I having so much fun with this? I miss this so much. We used to start, well, I guess it was this one particular writing class, but we did writing prompts in multiple classes, but there is one particular class in my very last semester where the prof had us do writing prompts the second we stepped in the class before every single class, and it was for like 5 to 10 minutes of free writing. Like he'd give us a prompt and we wouldn't be able to use our laptops, we had to write it down on a piece of paper that we'd have to submit to him at the end of the 5 to 10 minutes was over, which the pressure. He wrote a book that I literally have on my bookshelf and rated 5 stars. So when I first found out he was gonna do this, I was like peeing my pants. Like, you're kidding, and you're gonna read it and give your feedback. Like, he wouldn't grade it obviously because it's a writing prompt, but he would give like feedback. He is so kind. Like, obviously in our assignments he was more critical, but like for the prompts he knew that this was very vulnerable for us because we had 5 to 10 minutes to write it. We couldn't plan it out beforehand. We couldn't edit it. We didn't have time to edit it. So he was so kind. It just, yeah. But anyway, he would give us a prompt, we'd write it out, and it was just I used to look forward to it because it just became so fun to just write non-committally. Like, this isn't a setup. I'm not setting up a character arc or building up to a certain plot point. Like, you're just writing a chunk of something. And that's what I feel like I'm doing here because it's just a scene. We don't know what happens before. We don't know what happens after. That's interpretive. It's up to the reader. And I just love that so much. So I'm just writing. Literally, I have half a page done and I'm going literally sentence by sentence, fully discovery writing it, which is how I always start off my assignments, and then I'll obviously polish it at the end. I stuck with the line, there was a girl in the middle of the ocean, and I didn't notice this until a couple sentences after, but I started just subconsciously writing in third person. I think that's because for short stories, I tend to write in third person because most of the ones that I read are in third person. I think that's why. It's gotta be something subconscious. I don't know what it is, but I think that's why. Because then the next line is, if he squinted, raising one hand to block out the sun, he could just make her out in the distance, which obviously very wordy sentence and it needs editing, but this is, like I said, this is just a brain dump. Like, I'm literally just putting things on the page as rough, it's a rough draft of this scene, and then obviously I'll go back and I'll add stuff, expand where I can, just make it better. But I'm very comfortable doing a really rough write of this right now, and I'm excited to see where this goes, truly. It's days later. I am so sorry. I had one of those rare moments where I forgot I was vlogging and I just wrote. I was so in the zone with this scene. I was having so much fun with it. It was like a teeny bit frustrating at the start because I wrote it out, like the whole messy first draft, starting from that line that I started on, and then I read it back and I was like, something about it feels off. And so I changed the tense from past to present, which wasn't like a big deal to me, but when I was reading it back, I noticed that I switched to present for a couple lines, like a bunch of times, and I was like, I'm just so used to writing present tense right now. Let's just stick with that. Stick to the stuff you know. It's better if I tell you things as they are. Don't mess with the stuff you know. Stick to the status quo. Sorry, High School Musical break there. Anyway, so I switched it back to present tense, and then I switched the POV from third to first because so much of what was happening in this scene was happening in my character's head. Like, there's not a lot of action in this scene. So I was like, this feels so odd in third person, because like a rule, like a tip that I learned, which is not a be all end all by any means rule, but it's just a good tip for a lot of situations, is if it's character driven, write in first person. If it's plot driven, write in third person. And this is such a character driven scene. Like, there's not a lot of action. Like, I wanted it to open on internal like monologue in my character's head, Jack's head, because he's noticing this change. Like, I kept it as childhood best friends to lovers, and it's like that moment where he's realizing, okay, this is what I'm feeling isn't friendship anymore. And so that has to, like, I was like, that has to go on in his head, and I wanted to build up for their first interaction, like him and Maya. So yeah, I made that change and it already felt so much better. And because so much of it goes on in his head, I was like, I don't want this to be boring. So I played around with the writing style and I went for a more lyrical writing style. I was inspired by The Roughest Draft, which I was reading, and it has such beautiful writing, and I don't get to play around with my writing that much in my romance novel because I write more commercial rom-com style of writing, which I like, but I love opportunities like this when I have a shorter piece to experiment with different writing styles. And so I tried to make it more poetic, and I had so much fun with it. I might have gone over the top, but you know what? It was fun. It was so fun to just play with every single sentence and the dialogue because it's such a short piece, not a lot to work with, and I really wanted to do as much as I could with that amount of time, and it's just so much fun. I think it encapsulates Kay's mood board so well because it's super beachy themed. It's a little less sunshiny, a little more gloomy beach vibes. So yeah, I had so much fun with it. If you want to check out this scene that I wrote, head over to Kay's video where she'll be reacting to the scene. And if you are from Kay's channel and you are waiting for the moment where you get to read Kay's scene, now is the time. I know you guys are excited because I'm excited to read this. For those of you who don't know, I gave Kay the mood board and playlist for my romance novel, Into the Limelight, which is a young adult enemies to lovers fake dating romance set in Hollywood between a reluctant songwriter and a heartthrob pop star. I was very much inspired by the movie Starstruck and Let It Shine, the Disney Channel original movies, which is why a lot of the songs on the playlist that I gave to her have songs from those movies. But I'm so excited to see what Kay has done with it, and let's read her scene. I have the scene pulled up. I'll have it pulled up for you guys as well. Let's read it. The last advice my father gave me before I ran away from home was that the most dangerous thing a person can ever do is dream. Beautiful opening. I still thought about his words every morning, even as I ate breakfast at the long marble kitchen island of my high-rise apartment and stared at the Hollywood sign outside of my window, even as I was picked up by my music producer chauffeur and ambled through the charcoal black doors of the record label's studio. Sorry about that. Even as I paced around that tiny phone box I'd been in all day, leering at the microphone as if it was responsible for my lack of productivity, my father's words lingered in my mind like a solemn shadow on a sunny day. Okay, this is so good. This feels like an opening of a book. Like if this was the first chapter, this was an opening of a book, I'd be like, I'm reading it. I'm sold, I'm reading it. It sets the scene so well because we're already getting kind of that tension of like, you can tell she's going after a dream, but her father's advice is lingering in almost a negative way. Like there's obviously something standing in her way. Also, we've immediately opened up setting the scene for it to be in Hollywood. So love that, love the vibes. Okay, let's continue. I don't like it, I huffed, slumping onto the stool in the center of the recording booth. Sirius glanced at me from the other side of the glass, furrowing his thick black brows. Do it again. I choked, as if my body itself was having an allergic reaction to the sound of my voice. Ooh, that's a good line. We've done it 15 times now. It's just a riff, Joel. Just a riff decides whether I get this Grammy nom. Oh, okay, so Joel, I think this is from the perspective of Joel. So she also chose a male main character for this. I love it. Just a riff decides whether I get this Grammy nom. Play it back, I asked, feeling the strain in my larynx. Please. You see, it's easy for Sirius Rouge, the multi-award winning producer and creator of Rouge Records, to reduce a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to such pathetically feeble words as just a riff. Because he, unlike me, doesn't have a family on the other side of the country dying to see him fail. I love the troubled relationship that we seem to be getting with between Joel and his family, because Jordan also has a troubled relationship with his parents. Jordan, the main character of mine. So I love that little connection. Shifting his headphones from his ears to his neck, he played the track aloud. I'd rather listen to nails dragged across the chalkboard. It's missing something, I sighed, watching his eyes slowly dim. It sounds fine. No, at the end of that pre-chorus. I closed my eyes, physically seeing the musical notes tattooed across my eyelids. I love that, tattooed across my eyelids. There's a little dip, right? Sirius blinked at me as if restraining himself from blowing up. When you find whatever it is you're looking for, let me know. Where are you going? I asked as he stood up from his soft, very comfortable chair and not plastic backless stool. I love when sort of like atmospheric descriptions tie into what's going on emotionally into the scene as well. He swept his hands over his hair, a few lines creasing his forehead below it. I need 3 more coffees if we're finishing this segment tonight. Slugging towards the exit at the back of the room, he continued, do you want anything sweet? I let my gaze dart over to Sweet, Sirius's daughter Issa, who had buried herself, I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing any of these names wrong, Issa, who had buried herself so deeply into the corner of the leather sofa that a regular person might have struggled to notice her. I had no trouble with that, however. Issa was the kind of beautiful that felt like a punishment, the kind of face that the sun and moon would bow down for, let alone a mere man. Oh my gosh. How was I supposed to finish a single thought when Aphrodite was commanding the oceans just a few meters away from me? Oh my gosh. This is why sometimes I love reading from the male perspective, like the male yearning. Oh, that's good. She shook her head at her dad's question, curly black hair dancing along her shoulders as she moved. I think I'd only heard her say one word before. Hi. That's how we'd always communicated. Long, twisted strings of hi Joel, hi Issa, maybe the occasional nod of the head. Quietly, I started humming in an attempt to fill the silence, also as a reminder that it was okay to breathe around her. Ah, yes, let's pretend that the wall I've been facing all day is still interesting to look at. I like that. The wall speaks? That's funny. I swiveled around on my stool to see that I had not gone insane, but that Issa was watching at me. Surely not. No. Maybe I had gone insane. Clearing my throat, I clarified. Sorry? That melody you were just humming, she spoke, her voice pedal soft. I like it. Under that pre-chorus, I think it would add a bit of texture, maybe fill up that dip you were talking about. She smiled timidly, not knowing that she triggered my fight or flight response the moment she said a word that wasn't a hi. Oh my gosh, this is cute. Oh, I laughed nervously. Thanks. You could be onto something. Immediately regretting opening my mouth, I let out a sharp breath. In response, she nodded her head and went back to scrolling on her phone. Isabella Rouge's voice might be my new favorite song. I love that. Actually, can I ask you a favor? I found my lips saying before giving myself enough time to figure out what that would be. What kind of favor? Issa replied. Great question. Scanning the room for inspiration, I continued. Do you play guitar? She stood up from the sofa then, her baggy jeans sweeping the floor and graphic top hugging her waist. You know who my dad is, right? Right, yeah. I shook my head, feeling the temperature of my face rise significantly. Of course you do. That's my weakest instrument though, she smiled. Gosh, I wondered if she knew the unreasonable effect those dimples in her cheeks had on me. So you weren't wrong for asking. Get a grip, Jewel. How many do you play? I managed to say. She grabbed one of those acoustic guitars from the range hanging on the wall. 8. Oh, so just one weak link out of the casual 8, I replied, incredibly impressed. Although there was no surprise at all. Issa looked exactly like someone who played 8 instruments. My sister plays 13, she all but yawned, entering the booth. I'm nothing compared to her. Now that was simply an inaccurate statement. In all my alarm that Issa's vocabulary extended past one word, I'd forgotten to take notice of the fact that she was no longer on the other side of the room, but was now sitting on the stool in front of me, the stringed instrument on her lap as she gazed up expectantly. If I thought my throat was closing up before, I couldn't speak right now. Love it. All I could do was look at her. I liked looking at her. It's what I'd spent a lot of my time doing. Not in a creepy way either, just in the way that she was the head of the record label's daughter, and probably didn't see me as anything other than a numbered client. So I'd settled for admiring her from afar, soaking up our interactions like rainwater after a drought, collecting her highs and hellos like a fountain full of lucky coins. Stop, Kay. Okay, these are the kind of lines that make me stop and reread it multiple times, like over and over, because that's so beautiful. But now she was speaking to me, uttering the words, how can I help? I blinked a few times to make sure she was real. I don't know. Scrunching her face, 2 little lines ran down the bridge of her nose. Oh, I love little details like that. I was just as clueless as she was. All I'd wanted was to look at her for longer, to hear her speak again. I hadn't expected her to come in here and start strumming the melody that I was humming from her memory. Watching her hands gently brush over the strings, I stared in awe at the woman in front of me. Her mind. I wanted to wander around it like the ineffable metropolis I imagined it to be. Ooh! Hum it again, she mumbled, and I did. Then she started singing along. La la la's. I should have known by now to not be shocked by Issa's talents, but it was honestly cruel for one person to be so flawless. I still see the stars with the morning sun, she sang, and the pace of my heartbeat picked up tenfold. La 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 la. It was like everything within me awakened to the sound of her voice as I improvised the next line. No view compares, sweet, you're the one. Issa's grin shone even brighter as she continued. Only need your hands when you're on the run. La 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 la, I sang, hold me tight into oblivion. Okay, the lyrics for these songs are so good. Like, I love that. Maybe you should start writing songs, okay? Tension tugged at my skin as she stopped playing and looked at me with an intensity so strong I could feel it through my entire body. Awkward silences were the bane of my existence, but I could drown in this one. I think you found what's missing, she said meekly. I think you found what's missing, I corrected her, cocking my head back. She humbly shook her head. We make a good team. Issa's words lingered in my mind like a shooting star's trail across the midnight sky. Of course we end on a banger line. And so cute, and I know that this is just a romance scene, but now I want a story between these two because it's just so cute. I am so excited to read your book when it comes out, and if you guys are equally as excited, please go check out her crowdfund campaign where she's raising money for the release of her debut novel. And once again, go check out the video that she made for this collab where she writes this amazing scene and reacts to mine as well. And I had so much fun with this. Thank you so much for collabing with me, Kay. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, I wish you the best of luck on your writing projects, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!